Hello YouTube, this is my Chainburn deck profile for the 2012 September format. Chainburn's pretty much a troll deck, but unlike most others it actually does pretty well. So let's get started. So first we have 2 Lava Golem. So this is pretty much a staple deck in a staple card in a Chainburn deck. It gets rid of trouble monsters and burns damage, and your stall card should be able to stop it from attacking you. We have 1 Marshmallow. One is enough pretty much, you don't really need more than that. It does help to stall a lot, and it does do 1000 damage when they're taken to it face down, but usually they can predict what it is, and Papillopaerative is really bad against this. Like, it pretty much allows them to attack you directly, except you can't drop faders or scarecrows or whatever. Next we have Single Morphing Jar. Some people don't like this card. I think it's essential to the deck. Replenishing a hand is an amazing effect, and it usually kills their hand as well, and they'll lose whatever stuff they had, so it's pretty good. For stalling we have 2 faders and 3 Swift Scarecrow. Most people don't run this much hand trap stall. I reckon it was pretty good. I prefer Scarecrow over Fader because Fader can be warninged, and even though that's extra damage to them, it's still, usually they'll only warning it and they'll go for game. So Scarecrow is much harder for them to stop, and it's also a machine. So that means if they have a Cyber Dragon, you can go into Chimera attack just by normaling it, get rid of their Cyber Dragon, you get a 2k beetle, or more if they have machines. Okay, my main tech of deck is 3 Matai, the Time Lord. So I found this is a really amazing card, and it does extremely well. So what it does is, if you have no monsters, you can normal summon it, and it's not destroyed by battle or by card effects, so they can't torrential it or whatever. And in the at the end of the battle phase in which it attacks or is attacked, it bounces all other monsters to the owner's hand, and your opponent takes 300 for each of those. So if your opponent has a full field of monsters, just attack into one of them, you'll take no damage, which is one of its other effects. It takes no battle damage in attack position, and you just end your battle phase, and they will return to the owner's hand or extra deck, and they will take 1500 if they had 5 monsters, and it returns your deck in your standby phase, so it gives an extra turn of stall. Most people don't run 3. I was running at 2 previously, but I found it was just too good not to run 3. Okay, now to our spells. 2 Chain Strike, obviously. Another staple card in a Chainburn deck. It deals your opponent 400 damage for the chain link number. Only thing is that you can't activate 2 of the same card of the same name before it in the chain, but usually that doesn't matter, and you can easily deal 2000 or more damage with this card. We have 3 One Day of Peace. I think this is also another staple card in a Chainburn deck, or in any deck of this type like Exodia or Final Countdown. People say it's like you can't activate your burn cards after you've activated it. No, it doesn't matter. You just don't set them when you activate this. It gives you a turn to set up an extra draw pretty much. Like, it's just a really good card. Allows you to set up and just extra stall pretty much. We have 2 Prodigality because it got semi-limited. If it wasn't, you'd run 3. You pretty much don't special summon at all. You only special summon Lava Golem. and it just lets you get to your burn cards faster or whatever you need at that time. And finally, we have a single heavy storm. Your opponent will probably not see this coming, but it's easy for you to play around an opponent's heavy storm. It's even easier to use it yourself. When they see you playing Chamberlain, they'll probably just set everything, not fearing any spell or trap destruction, and it actually helps a lot. Onto our traps. We have 3 Just Desserts, obviously. Deals 500 points of damage to your opponent for each monster they control, so up to 2,500. You usually want to deal a minimum of 1,500 unless you're going for game, or that you don't have any other chance if they MST or something. We have 3 Secret Barrel, another staple Chamberlain deck card. Deals 200 damage to your opponent for each card on their field and in their hand. You'll probably want to do a minimum of, say, 1,600 or 1,800 with this card. Single Ceasefire, because it's limited. It's kind of a not as good Just Desserts, but it does include your effect monsters as well. So if you had a Fader or Mation, it would include that. So you probably want to do at least 1,000 damage with this. Next we have Tuo Geometrio. This is a really amazing card. Firstly, it gives your opponent 3 tokens. They can't be tributed, so they clog up your opponent's field like really well, especially in today's format where you've got a lot of swarming. Losing 3 monster spots is pretty bad. They can sync with them, but nothing really does synchros anymore. They can't exceed with tokens. And also the tokens count as cards for Secret Barrel and Just Desserts. So that's an instant extra 1,500 to your Just Desserts if you activate it right after. We have 2 Magic Cylinder. Yes, I know it's at 3, but I find it's probably too much. Your opponent can pretty easily predict it. It's pretty readable. But at 2, does well. You can, if they attack with the Lava Golem you gave them, that's 3k right back to them. It stops attacks, but I think it's too much at 3. So our drawing cards, we have 2 Accumulated Fortune. Again, I think this clogs your hand too much at 3. It's not enough at 1, but it works fine at 2. So you can only activate it as Chainlink 4 or higher, and you can draw 2 cards. It has the same restriction as Chain Strike, where if there's 2 or more of the same named card in the chain, you can't activate it. But with both Chain Strike and Accumulated Fortune, you're able to activate 2 in a row, because when the second one's activated, at that time there's only 1 other Accumulated Fortune or Chain Strike in the chain at that time, so that won't affect it. We have 3 Legacy of Yadagrasu and 2 Jar of Greed. So Legacy is pretty much a Jar of Greed with the extra effect that if they have a Spirit monster you can draw 2. So if they're running Piper, Kinkabio is a Spirit monster, and now with Tsukiyomi back at 1, that's also a Spirit monster which some people are running. I thought it would be more popular, but I don't see that many people running it. But they're just for chain links and replenishment of your hand, pretty much. We have 3 Reckless Greed, again just for chain links. You normally only activate it if you have 2 or more of them in your field. You activate them at the same time, so you draw 4 or 6 and you only skip 2 draw phases. Or you'd activate it if you're about to die and you have nothing in your hand to protect yourself, just hoping to get a Fader or Scarecrow. If I had Max C's, I'd probably take these out and replace them with Max C's. Oh, sorry, Card D's. But I don't have them. And they're just extra chain links. And finally we have 1 Threatening Roar, just extra stall, another chain link. I run Threatening Roar over Waboku because they essentially do the same thing, but Waboku allows Gladiator Beast to attack, and you don't want that. So that's really the only main difference. If you ran Waboku and you dropped a Fader, they wouldn't be able to destroy that, and that would be an extra attack for next turn that it could block, but that's not really worth it. I reckon Threatening Roar is better. So that's the main deck. For a side deck, we have 3 MST and 2 Twister. So obviously Royal Decree is a massive problem for this deck. Most people won't side it, but quite a people, well, most people won't main it, but quite a few people side it. So 5 spell trap destruction plus your heavy in your main deck should be enough to take care of that problem. Usually in game 2 I will side in 2 or 3 MSTs, just, well, firstly to hurt their deck related cards, and just in case they side in a Decree. But 5 or 6 spell trap destruction should be enough to deal with that problem. Also hurts things like skill drain and other stuff that will help their own deck, not necessarily affecting you. So next we have a single Volcanic Queen. This is for players who are actually clever and just sit on one monster, or whose decks just normally sit on one monster. For example, Dino Rabbit, they just sit on a Largia. Your Lava Golem can't really get past it. They could negate a Matan if you summoned it, so Lava Queen or Volcanic Queen gets past problems like that. And usually if you're siding this in, you'd side out Lava Golem. We have a Gauze. This is a pretty good card. People won't expect it, and if you find you're taking a lot of damage against, for whatever reason, you could just side this in. Does pretty well. We have 2 Cyber Dragons. Could put in 3. Since Gigas are becoming more popular now, you can just side out whatever, put these in and go into Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. It will hurt them a lot and you'll get a pretty large beater. And we have 3 Macrocosmos. This hurts your deck in no way whatsoever. Doesn't affect Scarecrow, because that just says just discard it. Doesn't say where to discard it to, and it hurts a lot of decks. So it hurts wind-ups, will hurt Gigas with it, or Machina Gigas, Heroes, and it's just a really good card in general. This isn't 15 cards. I haven't thought of anything else to put in. Or you could put in Gozen Match, that does hurt wind-ups, which are pretty big in tier 1 this format, and they're probably the hardest deck to verse with Chainburn. But yeah, so that's the side deck. Extra deck, you just want any random rank 3s, which you could do with Marshmallows. Really, that's pretty much it. You could side another Marshmallow if you're only running 2, running 1 in your deck. You want Fortress Dragon, obviously. That's pretty much it. So that's the Chainburn deck for my format for this September format. Just wanted to show you this. I made secret, or change supers or ultras into secrets. So I might make a guide on how to do this. Did a Grand Mole, Gear Frame and a Snow, which is hard to see. It's a pretty shitty card to do, because there's not much that's actually secret. You can't really see it. But these ones are much better. So thanks for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, and peace out. Peace out, what the fuck? I sound like a fucking faggot. Okay, goodbye.